Welcome to Growing Together, a Healthy Beginnings podcast, a space created to support families through pregnancy, birth, and early parenting with care, compassion, and community. Whether you're expecting a baby, caring for a newborn, supporting a loved one, or working with families, you are in the right place. Join us for conversations with experts, facilitators, and parents as we explore perinatal nutrition, mental health, parenting, community building, and the resources that help families thrive. Whatever you're listening from, you belong here. Let's get started. I am your host, Tania Borja, Senior Coordinator with the Healthy Beginnings program at the Stop Community Food Center. And today, I am joined by Sandra Van, Community Program Manager here at the Stop Community Food Center. Hi, Sandra. Welcome.
Hi, Tania. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm thrilled to be promoting the Healthy Beginnings program and hopefully provide a little bit of background around how food insecurity really impacts our population group that we're serving.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Today is a really interesting topic that we're going to be talking about. As you mentioned, food security and food insecurity within our communities. And we would love to hear from you what you think about this topic and what community is going through at this moment here in this city. But before to start, could you please introduce yourself and just tell us what your role at the Stop Community Food Center is?
Sure. So my role again is I'm the community program manager, and I oversee a number of community programs here at the Stop. And just to give a little bit of oversight, the Stop definitely wants to make sure that people have food, sufficient food, access to culturally appropriate food. So we have our emergency type services where we have food banks, and we have our drop-in program. People can come in for a meal. But the community programs really focus on education and providing people with the tools and the resources so they can support themselves through the number of issues that are out there. If they're food insecure or income, they need income, if there's immigration issues. So we have an advocacy support program. We have community kitchens to help people learn those tools of learning how to cook or ways to cook affordably. And then, of course, we have our Healthy Beginnings program, which as well is very much a tool to empower and provide people with tools and supports during a really critical time in one's life. So I'm thrilled to support this programming, and it really does address the root cause of the inequities that are out there in society.
Absolutely. This is really important. I am also really proud to be part of this team and supporting our community through this important time, which is pregnancy and postpartum. Mm-hmm. And Sandra, when we talk about food security, what does really mean for families who are pregnant or parenting young children?
Well, when we look at just generally when people don't have enough to eat, that they're food insecure, and that can be a real spectrum to mild to moderate to severe, and each have its own challenges. In and of itself, being food insecure can create all kinds of challenges. So access, obviously, to good, healthy fruits and vegetables, and then the stress that comes with food insecurity, not knowing if you're going to be able to get your meal the next day, or if you're severely food insecure, maybe not have food for several days, and people are definitely adjusting their food budget to pay for their rent. So in the general population, not talking yet specifically about people who are pregnant, is the impact of food insecurity is so great, especially around mental health issues, creating also other long-term chronic diseases. It's a huge stress on people, and it's never just episodic, one-off. It's ongoing, and this kind of depletion or insufficiency in a basic need really affects people's health. So then we add the layer of being pregnant. So you're pregnant, you're taking care of not just yourself, but your fetus, your child to be, and this is a really rapid developmental time in the child's life, the brain development. And you as the parent have to make sure that you are taking in enough calories, but also you're taking in certain types of nutrition. So getting your iron, getting your omega-3s, getting your fatty acids, getting a lot of the nutrients that are required to support that fetus in this really important time in development. So what the research has shown is that birth rates are lower for people that are living a life in an environment of being food insecure. So our goal, one of our benchmarks, or we're able to determine how successful we are, is looking at those sort of birth weights and wanting to make sure that the birth weights are at average or above average with the populations that we serve.
Absolutely. And you're completely right. That is one of the missions and the objectives of this program, which is part of the Canadian Perinatal Nutrition Program, that really takes into consideration how much the pregnant individuals are really meeting those needs, those nutritional needs, in order to be able to deliver a healthy weight baby. And yes, that's really what we do here, beside other aspects that really makes us a very holistic approach program. Sandra, from your perspective, what are some of the biggest food-related challenges that families are facing right now?
Well, I mentioned earlier about there's a spectrum of being food insecure. So what we're seeing is that people are moving more towards, people that are food insecure, moving more towards moderate and severe insecurity around food. We're also seeing, ever since COVID, there's just been a dramatic increase in the cost of food. In fact, food for this year is expected to rise between 3% and 5%. That's another $1,000 for a family, if we're looking at a family of 4. So food prices have gone up. There's been a real increase in the number of people that are food insecure. So 1 in 4 Canadians are food insecure. I know it's a shocking fact, but that is what the research is showing for 2024. We're still going to wait for the data that comes in for 2025. But across the 10 provinces, that's what we're looking for. It's across the country. So as I mentioned, some of those triggers are the costs of food, and then also housing is tied into that, because as housing prices have increased, as I mentioned, people use their food budget as a way to offset some of those other expenses. So we're seeing a trajectory that isn't getting better, right? We're seeing that this could and will get worse going forward. And certainly the government is putting in place some income supports, like the GST rebate program and the National Food Program in schools. That will be a support. But it's the thing with food insecurity is it really affects not just your physiology, psychologically. Psychologically, especially as a parent or a new parent, not knowing if you can feed your child in a couple of days, that kind of stress, I mean, it's a primal need as a parent. You want to know your child is going to have food. And if there's any kind of worry about that or uncertainty, it's going to trigger a lot of stress, understandably. And recently in Toronto, there was a piece of research that was done, and it showed exactly that. It showed that families that were and parents that were food insecure, they were twice as likely to have mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, postpartum depression. So I know that's kind of a long-winded, but just so we know the background, is this is a very serious problem in Canada. It's in our communities. And, really, we have to continue to develop a lot of supports more than food banks.
Absolutely. Yes,
Right?
it is. It is really, really shocking to see how prices have gone up so much in the supermarket. I myself, every time I got to the supermarket to do my groceries, I am so badly surprised of how
Right.
prices have changed. So I can only imagine um, people who are perhaps just living on a one income, or perhaps living um, with government supports, how difficult it is for them to really access nutritious food, especially when they're pregnant, in order to really provide their bodies with this nutrition that they need in order to be healthy themselves and deliver a healthy birth
Exactly.
baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we know, right? We know it's a critical period of time that nutrition and calories are so important, as well as I mentioned, some of the social connection and feeling good about yourself. But if we can address that area across the board, across the country, I mean, we have an example here with the Healthy Beginnings, but just how important it is that food security is part of people's lives during this particularly exciting and critical time in life.
And Sandra, according to your expertise, how do programs like Healthy Beginnings here at the Stop Community Food Center help reduce some of these barriers for families?
In a number of ways, Healthy Beginnings reduces barriers, and then they promote, provide tools for people to move forward in that long journey of parenting. It's the beginning of the work that needs to be done. So the barriers that the program that I see, and you may want to add to this, simple things too, like providing TTC tickets, self-referrals. People can call up and say they're interested, and as long as they're pregnant and they fit within the catchment area, which we have a little bit of flexibility depending on the person's circumstance. And we also have child minding at the program, so your younger children can come and be in the child minding program while the participant or the mother is in the program. And so these are important components to reduce the barriers to get people to get to the program. And then once they get to the program, like there's delicious food, there's delicious lunch, there's always a delicious lunch. Then there's the food hampers and lots of vegetables, fruit, dairy that people can take with them. They come twice a month, so quite a comprehensive hamper to take home. And then also food vouchers that they are given. So giving them those supports every time that they come really gets them not just through the month, but supports that overall food security with the proper nutrition. And on top of it, people make connections, right? So they make connections, they make friendships, maybe ongoing friendships, or they may, it may be to have a connection for the day. So I'll talk more about, like, we have all these community partners that are really amazing as well. And I would like to talk about that sort of educational aspect of it. I don't know if you want to tap into that, but that educational piece and getting people grounded in the community resources that are here and getting connected to service providers in the community. And one that I will mention, obviously, is our lactation consultants, so that we ensure that parents have enough information around breastfeeding to support their child during that journey if the parent so chooses. So we're providing a lot of different supports, reducing the barriers first, and then providing the supports and education to move them forward in this incredible journey of parenting.
Indeed. And we are particularly a very comprehensive program, and we strive to provide a holistic approach to our services. And as you were mentioning, definitely not only the aspect of being able to obtain some food, but also the fact that a lot of our families might be newcomers. A lot of our families might not speak the language very well and may not have other connections or family in the country. So being able to come to a program like this and connect with other parents, it really helps a lot in terms of improving mental health, the sense of belonging to a community, the sense of really having the opportunity to share and to learn from other parents and the facilitators that come every week to provide education on different topics. So definitely one important thing that I wanted to add is that we also provide interpretation for our workshops, and these indeed further lowers the barriers for families to participate, to understand the content that is being provided, and just having that opportunity to really connect with us and let us know what is that they really need and what their needs are at that moment. So yes, indeed, it is really a community-based holistic approach that we provide here at the Stop through our Healthy Beginnings program. Can you please share an example of how food programs combined with education, this model that we have, really make a difference in our community?
Well, I think a couple of things. So when you were talking about the education component, creating an environment that's so welcoming for people to come in. And as mentioned, people who are newcomers or people who just may find it difficult to join a group, but creating such a warm and welcoming environment, people come in and meet other people and realize they are not alone, that there are other people struggling with being socially isolated, or because people talk over the lunch and in general, or learn that somebody else is struggling with their landlord, or realizing that there's another parent that's nervous too about breastfeeding. So you see that regularly in the program, that bringing people together in itself, people learn from one another. It reduces their own perhaps anxiety that it's not just them. This is the stage of life when a lot of these issues come up. And then with the education component, the HB Healthy Beginnings has a weekly educational piece that really assists people in knowing what's to come, whether it's how you prepare your first solid foods for your child, or perhaps there is some issues around being non-insured health-wise. How do you address that? What kind of supports can you get? So you get a real broad range of different educational speakers that come, but this really helps people understand that it's not them. What I see, it's not them that when they're struggling and going through that anxiety, but that there are tools and resources to help them get over some of those humps. So yeah, and certainly when the program has their celebration events, our incredible Mother's Day or the holiday party, and people are made to feel so special, and you can see the friendships that are blossoming, and parents exchanging children to hold, and them getting their picture taken together when you have the pop-up installation, and people can have their child and them in the photograph, and I mean that's a keepsake for them. But to create that environment that's really bringing people together so that they can build lasting relationships if they so choose, And I think that that really, and I'm sure that, I mean, the surveys show how much people appreciate, as you mentioned, the food, but also more so getting to meet people and learning about what this journey is going to be like for them.
Absolutely. It's those definitely are strengths that we could see in the families that we serve that participate in our program. And there are many other strengths as well that we can see they develop over the period of time that they are participating with us. Can you think of any other strength that our families acquire while they are part of our participation?
Well, the other strengths, I mean, there's many. I'll just, a couple I would say is because we have partner organizations that are on site. Yeah, I mentioned the lactation consultant. We will have a dietitian on site. We'll have a public health nurse. We'll have resources on site. And so participants can talk right there, addressing their problems and their issues. And it's really, the wraparound support is so critical. Sometimes you need that one-on-one, and to be doing it on the phone or Zoom doesn't always work for people, but making that connection. And then also people know, oh, there's actually a dietitian that, I could go to if I, go to such and such a clinic. And also we have the partner of the early on that comes to the program and lets people know once their child's 2 years old, I think it's 2 years old, they can go on to the early on centers that provide a host of supports and education as the child goes through the toddler and those early preschool years. So that's a huge strength. And also just statistically, the program, community-based programs like this show that birth weights are stabilized. We know it indicates that people that are living in food insecure environments, the infant their birth weight is lower, much lower than the average. But attending these types of programs increases it above the average. So that's, hard, cold facts about the program. And I mean, there's lots more to say, but I will leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And also just after birth, we also know for a fact that the number of mothers who are breastfeeding has also increased because they not only they are encouraged through the education they receive during the workshops, but also have the opportunity to have one-on-one lactation consultation with professionals that will make that journey, I would say, perhaps not easier, but definitely more manageable because everybody's breastfeeding journey is different. And sometimes we have this conception of, oh, it's so easy to breastfeed, right? But having the supports, having the that will give you the information and the support and the encouragement you need, it will definitely make the journey more manageable. And well, Sandra, this has been such an inspiring conversation. I'm really thrilled to be part of this team. This program means so much for me, and every time that I come to work, I am so excited to be able to support the families in the community that have the trust to come and connect with us. And just before we end this episode, what has inspired you the most to be working in this area of food security and perinatal support?
I'm a true believer in education and community development. I really believe that kind of programming and connection really supports us as humans and can help us have a better quality of life. So it's really incredible to be part of a program that's foundational. I mean, this is a foundational time for people. So if we can instill some of those concepts, that it's so important that we come together as a community, it's so important that we continue to learn and grow and learn from one another. And it's also so important that people see that there is, and it's not help in the sense of charity, but that there's good service out there, that we can support one another. And right now for people, this is a foundational time. We're supporting that, and they're learning, and will know as they go through their journey how to support themselves later on.
Thank you, Sandra. Those are really inspiring and uplifting messages. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tania, and keep up the amazing work.
Thank you. Sandra Van, Community Programs Manager here at the Stop Community Food Center. If you're listening and if you're pregnant or know someone who is pregnant that could benefit from this community, from food supports and trusted information, please know that we are here to serve you. We serve primarily families living in South Eglinton Avenue, north of Bloor Street, west of Yonge, and east of James Street. If you live within these boundaries, please do reach out. We are open for registration, and we would love to be able to provide you with the services from our program, Healthy Beginnings. If you are also listening, if you're a partner agency or someone who serves the community as well, and you're listening to this podcast, please refer your clients to me, to Healthy Beginnings program, and we'll be so glad to help and support. We operate on 1884 Davenport Road here in Toronto, and we can be reached out with the information that we're going to be putting down on the comments of this episode. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have everything figured out before reaching out. We are here to support you. We look forward to welcoming. Thank you for listening to Growing Together, a Healthy Beginnings podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who may benefit and help us spread support and connection to more families. You can learn more about Healthy Beginnings, upcoming programs, and community resources through the STOP website and social media channels. New episodes coming soon from your Healthy Beginnings team. And remember, no one has to navigate pregnancy and early parenting alone. Whatever you're listening from, you belong here. Healthy Beginnings is here with you every step of the way. Until next time, take care.